It was a cold morning. In the heart of the countryside stood a big, beautiful house, old stone, wide windows, tall gates. But inside it was quiet, too quiet, like the house was waiting for something or someone. Mr. Adrian Cole lived there. He was rich, not just a little rich, very rich. He owned factories, hotels, land. People respected him, but they also feared him. Because Adrian was not soft, he didn't smile much, didn't talk much. He lived alone. No wife, no children, no logger in that big house. Just work and silence. But one day, that changed. He needed help around the house. So he asked his manager to hire a housemaid. Someone quiet, he said. Someone simple. I don't want trouble. And that's when she came. Her name was Clara. She was 24. Soft voice, gentle eyes, wore simple clothes. Didn't say much at first. She needed the job. Her parents were gone. She had a younger sister to take care of. No money, no one to help. When Clara entered the mansion, he looked around, wide-eyed. Is this real? She whispered. She had never seen such a house before. Marble floors, golden frames, big curtains, and silence everywhere. Mr. Cole didn't even come to greet her. His assistant showed her around. This is the kitchen. That's your room. Don't go upstairs unless asked. And never enter his study without knocking. Clara just nodded. She was used to rules. She followed them. Every day she cleaned, dusted, swept, made breakfast, served tea, quietly, quickly. Mr. Cole hardly noticed her. Sometimes he walked past her without a word. But sometimes he watched her from a distance, curious. She didn't speak much, but when she did, her voice was calm, kind. One day, after lunch, Clara saw him reading by the window. She bought him tea. He looked up. Thank you. She nodded. Then he said, You always bring it at the same time. Clara smiled slightly. You always finish it at the same time. That was the first time. They smiled at each other. After that, things began to change, slowly. From that day, something was different. Adrian started noticing small things. How Clara folded the towels. How she hummed softly in the kitchen. How she opened the windows to let in fresh air and sunshine. She didn't ask for much. She didn't try to impress him. But she brought warmth to a house that had felt cold for years. One morning, Clara placed fresh flowers in the hallway. Adrian paused beside them. You picked these? Clara nodded. From the garden out back. He looked at her. I didn't even know there was a garden out back. She smiled. Well, it was hidden under weeds. I cleaned it up a little. Adrian didn't say anything. But that night, he went to look at the garden. The next day, he left a pair of new garden gloves by the back door. Clara saw them and smiled to herself. He didn't say a word. but she knew. They started talking more often. Nothing big, just little things. The weather's turning cold. Yes, I will bring in the sheets early. Did you eat anything? Yes, I always do after dishes. Adrian never asked personal questions, but sometimes he wanted to. One evening, as she served dinner, he finally asked, "Do you live far?" Clara hesitated. "I walk here. It takes almost an hour." He frowned. "An hour?" She smiled gently. "It's okay. I am used to it." The next morning, a driver waited outside her door. Mr. Cole had sent his car. Clara didn't ask questions. She just got in. But that evening, she left a note in the kitchen. "Thank you for the ride, but I like to walk sometimes. It helps me think." Adrian read the note. He smiled softly, then folded it and kept it in his drawer. One day, Clara was cleaning near the staircase. She slipped. It was fast. Her foot twisted. She cried out. Adrian rushed out of his study. "Clara!" He helped her up, held her arm. Her ankle was swelling. "Sit down. Don't move," he said. He picked her up, carried her to the living room sofa, gently placed the pillow under her leg. Clara looked at him, surprised. He seemed nervous, worried. "I'll call the doctor," he said. Clara shook her head. "It's okay. I've had worse." Adrian knelt beside her. "No, this is my house. You are under my care now." That was the first time he showed it. Care. Real care. The doctor came. He wrapped Clara's ankle and gave instructions. "She needs rest," he said. "No walking for at least a week." Clara looked worried. "But the work." Adrian stopped her gently. "You are not working this week. You are healing." For the next few days, Adrian stayed home more than usual. He broke her tea, helped her sit comfortably, asked if she needed anything. Clara wasn't used to this. No one had cared like this in a long time. She smiled one evening and said, "You don't have to stay, Mr. Cole." But Adrian replied softly, "I want to." They talked more during those quiet days, about simple things, flowers, music, the town, books, and little by little, their stories came out. One evening, Clara said, "I used to love reading. My mama had one book she always read at night." Adrian leaned back. "Which book?" "Little Woman." The next day, a copy of Little Woman appeared on the side table. Clara saw it, held it in her hands. She looked up at Adrian. "You bought this for me?" He nodded. "You said it mattered." Clara didn't say a word, but her eyes said everything. Adrian found himself doing things he never did before. He came home early. He sat beside her while she read. Sometimes he would even read aloud to her. They laughed more, One day, Clara said something funny about how rich men don't know how to make tea. Adrian raised an eyebrow. Is that a challenge? She looked. It is. He went to the kitchen that evening, tried to make tea. It was terrible. Clara tasted it and coughed. Then she looked so hard. Tears came to her eyes. Adrian looked too. For the first time in years, he looked without holding back. One afternoon, as the sun poured through the windows, Adrian looked at Clara while she slept on the couch. Her book was resting on her chest. The light touched her face gently. He felt something in his heart, something warm and real. He stood there for a while, just watching, not as a master looking at a maid, but as a man looking at someone who brought his heart back to life. He whispered to himself, Clara. Clara's ankle was healing. She could walk now, slowly. Adrian offered her a cane, but she smiled and said, I'll manage. He smiled back, stubborn. She looked, maybe a little, but something was changing, not just her ankle. Their silence now felt soft, comfortable, like they didn't need to fill every second with words. They had started to understand each other without speaking. One morning, Adrian found Clara in the garden. She was kneeling carefully, planting flowers. He walked over. You like the garden? She looked up. It's peaceful, and these flowers, they remind me of home. Adrian looked at the flowers. Then plant as many as you want. She blinked. Really? He nodded. Anything that makes you smile. She looked down quickly, not because she didn't believe him, but because his words touched something deep inside. That afternoon, Clara came inside with her hands full of fresh rosemary and mint. She found Adrian in the kitchen. I thought I'd cook something, if that's all right. He smiled. I'd love that. The house filled with the smell of home, warm bread, herbs, a little garlic, the kind of smell that makes a heart remember. Adrian sat at the table, watching her move around the kitchen with quiet grace. She looked when the duck stuck to her hands. He looked when she dropped a spoon. Dinner was simple, but to Adrian, it tasted like comfort. He looked across the table and said softly, You will change this house. Clara paused. Just a little food and flowers. No, he said gently. You brought life back into it. Her eyes met his, and something passed between them, unspoken but clear. Later that night, Adrian stood on the balcony. He looked up at the stars. He felt lighter, but also afraid. He whispered to the wind, She's just a maid. Then corrected himself. No, she is more. Inside, Clara lay in bed. She held the book he gave her. She stared at the ceiling and whispered, Don't fall, Clara. But she knew her heart had already started to fall. That evening, The wind was strong. The windows rattled. The sky was dark, heavy with clouds. A storm was coming. Adrian stood near the fireplace, a book in his hand, but he wasn't reading. His mind was full of thoughts. Thoughts about Clara. She was more than a maid now, more than someone he helped. She was part of his world, part of his heart. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then, darkness. The power was out. Clara? He called. I am here, she answered from the hallway. He walked toward her with the candle in his hand. Their eyes met in the soft light. You okay? He asked. She nodded. I am not afraid of the dark. He smiled. But still, stay close. They sat by the fireplace together, just the two of them, and the storm outside. Clara pulled a blanket over her legs. I used to love the rain, she said, when I was a child. Adrian turned toward her. What changed? She gave a soft smile. Life happened. He looked into her eyes. You don't talk much about your past. Clara looked at the fire. I had dreams, she said softly. But life, it didn't go as planned. My father died. We lost everything. I had to work, clean, move house to house. Adrian listened in silence. No judgment, only warmth in his eyes. She looked up at him. But here, it's different. This house, you, it feels safe. Adrian's throat tightened. He didn't plan to speak, but the words came anyway. You are safe, Clara, as long as I am here. Silence filled the room again, not heavy, but full. Then he reached out, took her hand, gently, slowly. She didn't pull away. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, hearts beat louder. Adrian whispered, I know, I shouldn't feel this. You work here. I hired you. But Clara, I care about you. I think I am falling for you. Clara looked down, then looked into his eyes. I think I already did. No kiss, no big movement, just two hands holding each other tightly. In the quiet of a storm. The storm passed, and morning came. Sunlight filled the big house. Clara stood by the window, holding a cup of tea. She looked out at the garden, quiet, calm, beautiful. Behind her, Adrian stepped in. He was holding something, a letter. He smiled softly. I have something to tell you, he said. Clara turned. Adrian took a deep breath. I spoke to my manager this morning. Told him I don't need extra staff anymore. Clara's heart jumped. You mean? Adrian nodded. You don't work for me anymore. You are not my housemate now. You are something more. He stepped closer. You are the woman I want beside me. Not to clean, not to serve, but to live, to dream, to love. Clara couldn't speak. Tears filled her eyes. She smiled through them. I don't know what to say. Adrian smiled. Say you will stay. Not as help, but as someone who belongs here. With me. Clara nodded. Slowly. Then faster. I'll stay. Days passed. Then weeks. The house felt warmer now. Laughter returned to the halls. So did music and joy. They cooked together, read books together, watched sunsets together. One evening, Adrian took Clara to the garden. The sun was low. The sky was orange and gold. He held her hand, and from his pocket he brought out a small ring. No big speech, he said, no fancy words. Just this, stay with me, Clara, forever. Clara gasped. Tears came again, but this time they were happy ones. She nodded. Yes, 100 times, yes. They hugged under the soft sky, the wind gentle, the world quiet. A house once cold, now full of love. The rich man had found what money couldn't buy, and the housemaid, she had found the home she never thought she'd have again. Thanks for watching, guys.